guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be showing you this 1960s Bollywood inspired makeup look. And so right away to get started, I already have my eyes primed with my Tarte CC eye primer, and then I'm going to be going in with the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. And I'm going to be going in with the shade Golden Ochre as my first transition color. And I'm just working that into the crease using the brush that came with the palette. Next I'm taking the shade Raw Sienna and I'm just working that right on top of where I applied Golden Ochre. And now using the shade Cypress Umber on this Sonia Kashuk angled brush, which is actually one of my favorite brushes for winged eyeliner. I'm going to start sketching out my outer wing. And I'm just going from right where my eyelid ends, and I'm just angling the brush upwards and creating a straight line that goes almost to the end of where my brows are. So as you can see, I'm making the angle pretty dramatic. And once I'm done sketching out the end of the wing, I'm going to flip my brush over and I'm just going to go straight across, creating a straight line. And then once I get about halfway down my eyelid, I'm going to start curving that line and tapering it off to match the curve of my eye shape. Next, I'm taking the shade Venetian Red on a smaller, more precise blending brush, and I'm just softening up the lines that we just created and kind of adding in a pop of color. Then I just noticed that the angle that I drew was a little bit too high in comparison to my other eye, so I'm just kind of correcting that by going back in with my angled brush and drawing the line a little bit lower with that Cypress Umber shade. And then to clean it up, I'm just going in with a white eyeshadow and just erasing the areas where the shadow went too high. So just always make sure to compare whatever you're doing on one eye to the other eye that's already done so that everything's even on both sides. And now I'm going back to Venetian Red and I'm just adding that on top of the line that we initially created to start the wing. And now for one of the most important steps in this entire look, I'm just taking a little bit of concealer and I'm just going to work on really carving out the insides of our wing. And this is just going to help create the gap that you're going to see between the outer wing and the inner wing, which we're going to see in a little bit. But the main thing that's important with this step right here is to take your time and just go slowly so that you don't mess anything up. And just a tip, if you raise your eyebrows during this step, it'll just help you spread the concealer more evenly. Especially for those of you who might have more wrinkles in your eyes or if you have hooded eyelids. And as you can see, I'm eventually filling in my entire lid with the concealer. Now to start the inner wing, I'm going back to Cypress Umber on that same angled brush, and I'm just going to create another diagonal line parallel to the one that we initially created. And then once I'm done creating that line, again I'm just flipping my brush over and leaving a little bit of space. I'm just going to mimic that same line that we created above. And as always, when you're doing a more intense, sharp look, just take your time sketching your lines out and start with adding a little bit of color first, and then you can always go back and darken up your lines. So now that we have the shape of the inner wing created, I'm going to be going in with the color Mooning by Colourpop, and I'm just going to be adding that to the inner and outer thirds of that inner cat eye shape that we just created. And after placing the eyeshadow on the inner and outer thirds, I'm just lightly connecting the two areas. And then using the new Urban Decay Moondust palette, I'm just going to be going in with the color Lithium and patting that onto the centers of the lid. And just as a quick side note, if you're really into glittery eyeshadows, you have to have this palette. It's definitely a must-have. Okay, so moving on, I'm just going back to my concealer and I'm just going over the space in between the inner and outer wing. And I'm just cleaning up that area because you can't really see on camera, but quite a bit of shadow fell in that area, so I'm just cleaning it up. And as you'll notice in a second here, as I'm going back in with the concealer, this time I was a little bit messier in applying it. But not to worry, because you can always go back in with your angled brush without applying any additional shadow and just go over that to pick up any excess concealer that may have gotten all over the place. And by going back in with that angled brush, you can just sharpen everything up without having to redraw the lines using any additional eyeshadow. Next, I'm just taking a black eyeshadow and I'm just sketching the shape of the inner wing again, just to add more dimension to the look. And the shadow that I'm using is called Noir by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which isn't part of a palette, it's just an individual eyeshadow by them. Now, after darkening up and outlining the shape of the inner wing, I'm just going to be applying that same black eyeshadow to the inner and outer thirds. And then I'm just going to take that shadow and run it along the outer half of my eyes, close to the lash line. And now using my NYC liquid liner, I'm just going to trace the outer tips of both the inner and outer wing, which is really going to help create that sharpness on the outer half. And you'll notice I'm not bringing the eyeliner all the way to the insides of my eyes. As I get about halfway, that's when I really loosen up on the pressure and just lightly sort of flick it on until it fades out completely and it blends in with the rest of the shadow. So basically, as I work my way to the inner half of my eye, I'm just loosening up on the pressure that I'm applying to the wand so that the line gets thinner and thinner as we get closer to the inner half of the eye. And again, I'm just applying the eyeliner to both the inner and outer wings just to accentuate the tip. And then one last time, I'm just cleaning up the space in between both the wings before moving on to my waterline, and for that I'm going to be applying my Rimmel eye pencil in the color Nude, which is just going to help make my eyes look brighter and more wide-eyed. And then right underneath the waterline, I'm going to be going in with my angled brush and applying that same black shade called Noir by ABH, and I'm running this pretty close to the lash line. Then going back to the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm just taking Venetian Red again and using that to smoke out the black. And now I'm just slightly lining my upper eyelid using that same NYC liquid liner. Then finally for mascara, I'm just using my Maybelline Push Up Drama Mascara. And for falsies, I'm going to be wearing my Eyelure Definition Lashes in number 126. And just to show you real quick how I apply them, using both hands, I'm just going to look straight into the mirror and then take the lashes from above and then just drop them down and try to connect the center of the lashes to the center of my lid. And once that's connected, I'm just going to take a pair of tweezers and then connect the front end and then the back end. And then after everything's connected, I'm just taking the tweezers and pushing the false lashes with my natural lashes just to make sure everything is pressed as tightly as possible together. And then to finish the look, I'm just applying my Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in the shade Dolce. And with that, the look is complete. I really hope you guys like this look, and let me know what you guys want to see next. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! मैंने तुझे जरा देर